Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Antoine and my ID number is 18212239. Here I would like to share about one of the famous classic author or writer. Name is Antoine de Saint-Exupery. Before that, I want to ask you, what do you know about him? Yes, exactly. He was an author or writer, but actually there were some interesting facts about him. Alright, without any further ado, let's get to the topic.
Little Prince. How do you go about pronouncing his name with the typical French pronunciation? Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry.
Here are the outlines that I was research for this topic. First, biography. Second, youth and aviation. Third, writing career. Fourth, The Little Prince, one of the famous book of him. Fifth, Antoine de Saint-Exupery in World War II. Sixth, Disappearance. And the last is honors. Alright, the first topic is about biography. Antoine de Saint-Exupery, it was a famous name. In full, Antoine Marie Roger de Saint-Exupery, and in other resource, Jean-Baptiste Marie Roger de Saint-Exupery. He was born on 29 June 1900 and died on 31 July 1944. His father's name is Count Jean de Saint-Exupery and his mother's name is Mary de Fonscolombe. He came from an aristocratic family. And then he was a writer, poet, and pioneering aviator, and then he became a laureate of several of France's highest literacy award, and also he won the US National Book Award. So it's amazing. Next is about youth and aviation. He was born in Lyon, France, to an aristocratic family. He was the third of 5 children, and also his father was an executive of insurance brokerage. His father died unexpectedly when Antoine, 3 years old or 4 years old in other resource, and it had a great effect to the entire family, transforming their status to impoverished aristocrat. At the age of 15, his brother Franz tragically died of rheumatic fever, and this tragedy almost broke his life. In his early years, he failed twice in his final exam at a preparatory naval academy. He decided to study architecture without graduating it. In 1921, he began a military service with the regiment of light cavalry and was sent to Starbuck for training as a pilot. In 1926, he became one of the pioneers of international postal flight. He worked for Aeropostal between Toulouse and Dakar. In 1929, he was transferred to Argentina, where he was appointed director of the Aeroposta Argentina Airline. In 1930, Antoine was awarded the Legion of Honor Knights for his contribution to the development of civil aviation, and on June, he personally participated in the research for his friend who had an accident while flying over the Andes. In 1931, Antoine returned to France and received a 3-month leave. On April, he married Console Sonkin. The next is about writing career. Antoine de Saint-Exupery was a French aviator and writer whose work from the unique taste of a pilot and warrior at adventure and danger are seen with both eyes. Saint-Exupery's first novella was published in 1926 in a short-lived literacy magazine, The Silver Ship. Next was Saint-Exupéry's first book, with Shortened Mail, published in 1929. Next is the 1931 publication of Vol de Nuit or Night Flight, established Saint-Exupéry as a rising star in the literature world. He won the Prix Femina. The next is created 5 essays on April 1935 to describe his visited the Soviet Union. The next is Wind, Sand and Stars, published in 1939. Next is Flight to Arras, published in 1942. Next is Letter to a Hostage, published in 1943. And then The Little Prince, one of the famous book of him, published in 1943. And the last is The Wisdom of the Sun, published in 1948. Saint-Exupéry continues to write until the spring of 1943, when he left the United States with American troops bound for North Africa in World War II. Alright, the next is about The Little Prince, one of the famous book of Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Alright, first published in 1943, and then The Little Prince is both the most read and the most translated book in French language. The Little Prince was voted the best book of the 20th century in France, and then translated into more than 250 languages and dialects. The next topic is about Saint-Exupéry in World War II. In April 1943, Saint-Exupéry departed with an American military convoy for Algiers to fly with the Allies in a Mediterranean-based squadron. And then Saint-Exupéry had been suffering pain and immobility due to his many previous crash injuries, to the extent that he could not dress himself in his own flight suit or even turn his head leftward to check for enemy aircrafts. And then Saint-Exupéry was assigned with a number of other pilots to F-5 Lightnings, which an officer described as war-weary, non-airworthy aircraft. Next is about Disappearance. Saint-Exupéry last assigned a reconnaissance mission was to collect intelligence on German troop movements in and around the Rhone Valley preceding the Allied invasion of southern France, Operation Dragon, but he did not return, dramatically vanishing without a trace. Word of his disappearance shortly spread across the literature world and then into international headline. And the last is honor. You can see there are so many honors for Saint-Exupéry. The first is Saint-Exupéry is commemorated with an inscription in the Fashion in Paris, France repository of historical greats. And then Legion of Honor in 1930 until 1939, and then Prix Femina in 1929, and then Grand Prix du Romandie Académie Française in 1939, and then U.S. National Book Awards in 1940, and then Croix de Guerre in 1944, and the last is Consul de Sandoval in 1931. Alright, that's all for this topic about Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. So here is the references that I used to share about this topic. So thanks for your kind attention. I'm sorry for there is a mistake. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.